Howdy, internet. Ooh, bumped into something under the table. Excuse me, we're not even 10 seconds in. I had to clear my throat. Sorry about that. What do we got today? Well, we got fancy new backdrop. That means it's probably the weekend because I generally record outside during the week and at home at my desk on the weekend. And we are going to be looking at this guy. This came last night. Got to play around with it. Take the tin off in front of you. What am I doing? Medieval spinners. So this is the Tri Nuke in copper. You never catch me in copper, yeah, see? Ooh, we jumped right into spinning it. Didn't even, no foreplay, no nothing. Just jumped right in there. Let's move this out of the way. Oh no, let's move, right. There's our logo for the video. All right, we'll put you up here somewhere. Just a couple little spinners I'm happy with right now. I thought might be fun to put out there. So anyway, yeah, Tri Nuke. Just got this guy yesterday. Now, if you're on the Daily Fidget, you will have noticed that I did a little video where I kind of hit this up with some Flitz metal polish and my Dremel. There's actually still a little polish stuff left on there. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a shine. It had kind of almost like a brush. You can still see it in there. The Flitz didn't really take anything away. It just smoothed it out. Kind of had a brushed finish. It was nice. I've heard some things about people with the stainless steel one in particular having some hot spots here, but I think with copper being the softer metal and the way it was brushed, it's just easier to soften all those edges. So, yeah, so this guy's pretty good. So if you guys don't know the story on the Tri Nuke, basically Medieval Spinners has a really kind of high-end line of made in the US bar spinners. It's basically this design but a bar. And, you know, they make, I believe it's a FS8. They have, it's kind of like a hollow bar type design. They were making that in China, and they were going to have this made there. And there was some issues with that design, or plane getting leaked, or someone trying to clone it, or something like that. So they just preemptively put out a big pre-order to try and, you know, beat the cloners at their own game, which was cool. So I jumped on it at $25 on the pre-order. I think it's 40 normally. It was like kind of hard to pass up. It's a cool design, so... didn't really realize, you know, when you see pictures of spinners, you kind of almost assume they're all relatively the same size and the same form. So when I saw that this guy was allegedly going to be over 100 grams, I was like, what? So yeah, it's a pretty big boy. So can you see? I think you guys can see. Put it down there so you don't get the glare. Almost 4 ounces. So it's a pretty heavy boy. Pretty big. So when I took it out of the box, first thing I noticed was that it was actually really fun to spin. You get a lot of, you know, these angles and these little weights on the arms really allow you to get get some good grip, get some good pulls, and that weight just feels really good. These buttons felt really nice. So I should say this is a first look, but probably be a little bit more than a first look just with as much as I played with this yesterday and polishing it up and getting a feel for it. But yeah, it was like really nice. Felt like it was really fast. The bearing that was in it didn't feel too terrible. I have thrown one of Hex version 2 stainless steel bearings in there because, well, it just feels nicer with it. Right? It's my spinner, I'll do what I want. But yeah, I took it out of the box, and yeah, really nice spin characteristic to this guy. So even though it's got a lot of weight, it's still pretty easy to throw. Pretty easy to pull. There's a couple different ways you can play with this too, which is pretty neat. Should we get into that, or should we kind of talk about the design a little? Let's talk about the design a little, and then we'll get into more of how it fidgets. So I've got these cool buttons, electroplated, I'm assuming, and they're definitely not aluminum. They're definitely, I think, stainless steel. They've got some good weight to them, and it looks like, it doesn't look like a brass button by the color. Dedicated set screw. Maybe a little bit of rust on the screw. That doesn't really matter though. But they're pretty nice, decent buttons. Pretty big and chunky. Although these are a bit of a hot spot on this side. And they're kind of big. Let's see how big they are. Let's break out all the toys, right? I keep saying that. If you got the toys, might as well use them. So these are, yeah, almost 24 millimeter. So pretty big buttons at the farthest point. Where you're actually grabbing it though, where you're going to feel is closer to, I was going to say, probably felt like 20. Yeah, probably in that range. So they're pretty big buttons. So if you put them on other spinners, there's a good chance your finger's going to be rubbing on the outside of this unless you got a really wide body spinner. You know, something like, you know, this will be fine because your finger won't rub on the edge. Oh, look, you can see my shirt. Bernie Sanders, what? So yeah, and then it's got their little logo here. The arm design on this is really cool. That's one of the things that drew me to it. So you would think that essentially these are the arms, right? And it's sort of like a bi-arm design, but the reality is it's sort of like a really wide arm because of where they attach. So it still puts the mass in similar places, so it doesn't really change much in terms of how it spins if this was a solid arm coming in and connecting here. But it's kind of neat. Then it's got that same retention method that we're used to. So we got one of Hex Bearings you guys might recognize by the cage. They're pretty unique looking bearings. We love him. Love you, Heck. Kisses. All right, so let's talk about how this guy is to fidget, right? That's what we really want to know. I actually should have done a little more research before I started this. I believe they're still selling it, and I believe you can get it from their website. So I'll put a link up in the description below if you can. So, but let's talk about the way this guy is to fidget, because it does have a pretty unique design. Essentially, you've got 3 arms with 2 sets of raised weights on each arm. So that allows you to do a couple things. One, they're also long arms. Like I said, it's a heavy spinner, so it's big. So you can get good 2-finger pulls, good 1-finger pulls, well, good skipping a finger pull, good Hobby Timmy patented outside pull, good Hobby Timmy patented awkward fidget. But you also get this really unique thing of like being able to place your finger in the middle and get some good grip and pulling from there. Now, if I try to do a preloaded flick from here, my finger kind of, it doesn't really get caught, but it catches on. I don't get like a smooth release. And I can kind of feel it kind of like pushing weird when I do that. But instead of doing like a preloaded flick, I just do a fast flick. My finger gets out of the way without having an issue. So if I'm putting a lot of lateral pressure on like that, you run into an issue. But if I just do a pull, it feels really nice. And it's pretty easy to catch there. But then it's also nice to get your finger in between and push it from there. Because this is a pretty obtuse angle, you know, they're just straight and it comes right in. If I just try to put my finger in here and push, it's easy to not really get a lot of the mass. So you really want to kind of throw it back just a little bit and then push out, because there really isn't anything for your finger to catch on. Not only is it's you know, with the shape of the arms, it kind of tapers in, so you're essentially going to be sliding along the edge instead of having, you know, even a straight arm or something where your finger can really catch. So in order to push, you really want to pull it back just a little, and then you're fine. But in doing that, I find my finger rubs on the side of this button a little. So again, a little bit of a hot spot. The other thing too, when I do my preloaded flicks, if I'm doing the first one, it's fine. It's usually out here. But as I kind of fidget with it, what I find happens is my finger gets more either in here or right in here. So I'm getting my finger right there or right in there when I'm actually fidgeting with it. So just doing, you know, the first one, it's pretty consistently out there, but unless I'm really thinking about it, I really start getting my finger closer to the body. And this was the only hot spot I found. So if you watch my live video on the daily fidget, you'll see I also just very, very gently hit these corners right there. You can see that pretty good with the Dremel. Just taking just the edge of it off. No, oh, did I miss one? I might have missed one. That might be exactly what they look like. Yeah, so if you get your finger in there, bit of a hot spot. But when you sand it down like that, just taking the corner off, your finger pretty much just slides over it. So it looks like I missed one. Oh well, c'est la vie, mon ami. Other than that though, really good to fidget with. It's got a good characteristic, good heavy weight, which feels nice, but not too heavy. It doesn't really, when I have this in my hand, I don't feel like it's like the heavy weight that it is. It certainly feels like a heavy spinner, but doesn't feel like a 4 ounce, you know, nearly 4 ounce, almost 110 gram spinner. Just doesn't feel like that. So it's pretty legit. It makes some nice little lighting patterns, especially like in that low light. So when you're hanging out, see that? You kind of see those arms flashing by. It's nice. The buttons have a lot of good grip, so I think I've seen someone sand the tops of these down, and I'm probably going to do that as well to expose the stainless steel, so you have some cool little ring patterns there. I may hit up these sides with a Dremel just to take these corners down, but they're not too bad on there. Spin time wise, I'm actually pretty surprised. This guy does not get the spin times I thought it would. So the bearing that came with it, I don't know if it's a stainless steel or a hybrid ceramic. Either way, it feels all right. Again, it's not a terrible bearing, but I was getting 4 to 5 minutes on both table spins and vertical spins. I think a vertical spin maybe got upwards of 7 minutes, and I threw one of Hex Bearings in there and got very similar spin time. So I'm pretty surprised. So I might try to get some of my winning Spinetics or Stealth hybrids that are kind of broken in and see what sort of spin times we get there. But yeah, spin time wise, not amazing for what I would expect for the weight. They're still good, right? If anything honestly over 4 minutes feels pretty pretty similar right off the bat. You don't feel a lot of that speed and that loss of speed right off the bat. And it gets going really fast, and you can feel some good momentum, and it feels like it maintains that speed once you have, 5-minute overspin time. So it doesn't really feel like it, but when I first gave it a spin, I was like, oh, you're going to be a spin time champ. And it really isn't. But it's still good. It's still good for fidgeting with. So it's a little, again, it is on the heavy side, so if you like heavy spinners, you'll probably like this. It's got some interesting designs with the arms, so it kind of has a unique fidgetability, but again, if you really do the preloaded flick from here, and you're not paying attention, just fidgeting with it, your finger just catches it weird. I don't know. You can probably hear it. Here, this is a clean pull. I don't know if you can hear it. This is a, yeah. You just don't get clean pulls if you preload flick off the middle, unless you're really focusing on it. And again, when you're fidgeting, you don't want to be focusing on this. You want to be focusing on whatever you're doing and just fidgeting with this on the side. So, but overall, pretty pleased. I think $25, it's a steal. I think at $40, I think is what they're selling it for. That's pretty much right on the mark. It's probably worth a little bit more than that. I think it's a pretty good deal. So, yeah, it gets the Hobby Team seal of approval. Now, again, it's still got that new spinner smell. It's brand new out of the box, so I'm really enjoying playing with it. We'll see how it holds up, if it's one I continue to reach for over the next couple weeks. So, and then maybe we'll do another follow-up. I guess while we've got him here, just real quick, if you guys stuck to the end of the video, I'll give you a little preview. The biting, that's what it should be, y'all. That's how it should have shipped. Oh, that feels so good, nice and smooth, especially polished. But even if it wasn't my polish, that would feel a lot better than that ridge that was there. So I think they went too far trying to appease the people that thought it was a clone, and they lost a little bit of something. So for someone like myself that's not afraid to customize, we're able to fix it and get it back to where it should be. And then these, I might do a little bit of talking about these. This is from Van Pelt. Just a cool little stand. Kind of neat. You can do some fun stuff with it, so be on the lookout for a video for that too. So 12 minutes, we've gone on long enough. Got to really try to get my bearing review video out tomorrow with any luck. Fingers crossed, we'll see. So yeah, until next time. Peace.